Hi, I'm Holly and you're watching Kalkine TV live from Sydney. This is the stocks in action. First, let's have a look at the ASX200 and the ASX listed stocks that are trending today. The S&P ASX200 is down just 1.40 points today to 7,258.70. The bottom performing stocks in this index are Silver Lake Resources, which is down 7.96%, and Ramelius Resources down 6.92%. Over the last 5 days, the index has gained 1.10% and is currently 0.32% off its 52-week high. On Thursday, the benchmark index was in an uptrend and closed the session 0.59% higher, and an all-time high closing for the index. 8 of 11 sectors are higher along with the S&P ASX 200 index. Utilities is the best performing sector, gaining 1.39% and 5.79% for the last 5 days. On that note, let's quickly glance through some significant market movements globally. US stock markets closed lower on Thursday, the 3rd of June, dragged down by Bluechip stocks as investors waited for the latest economic data from the Labor Department in a lackluster session. The S&P 500 shed 0.36% down to 4,192.85, while the Dow Jones dropped 0.07% to 34,577.04. The NASDAQ Composite Index was down 1.03%, and the small cap Russell 2000 shed 0.81% as well. On Thursday, the US dollar rose to a 3-week high on the back of stronger than expected US jobs data that pointed to an improving labor market and reinforced signs that the US economy is on the way to recovery from the bruises left by the COVID-19 pandemic. The dollar index rose 0.622 points or 0.69% to 90.531 after falling around 2% in April and another 1.6% in May. The 10-year US Treasury yields climbed on Thursday with less activity by market participants ahead of the government's May employment report. The benchmark 10-year notes last fell 10/32 in price to yield 1.625% from 1.591% on Wednesday. Let's now have a look at some trending updates from the cryptocurrency and commodity space. The largest crypto, Bitcoin, was gradually recovering from its worst fall this year and was up by 3.52% to 38,899 US on Thursday. Its peers, Dogecoin, was down 4.45% and Ethereum down 4.8%. On Thursday, the gold slid as much as 2.3% as robust US employment data and service sector data propelled the dollar higher and boosted expectations that the strong economic data may signify a taper talk from the US Fed. Correction in the gold's price also impacted other precious metals, with silver slipping as much as 4.3% and platinum shedding 3.7%. On Thursday, Chinese coke futures surged as much as 6% to settle at a 3-week high, supported by fears of supply shortages and resilient demand from the steel mills. Chinese coke is used mainly in the iron ore smelting. The September delivery month of iron ore futures on the Dalian Quantity Exchange closed 3.0%, up 1,172 yuan, buoyed by rising coke prices. However, copper and other industrial metal prices fell to 5-week lows after a strong US jobs data fueled concerns that monetary policy could be tightened, knocking growth-related assets. Also, the strengthening of the US dollar made metals costlier for buyers with other currencies. All right, then, it is time for a short break. Stay tuned as we'll be back with more trending updates.
At Kalkine TV, our team of experts, anchors and specialists gear up to provide you with trending and breakthrough business stories, insights and market updates. The BNPL space did enormously well in 2020 and the trend may repeat in 2021. If you do not wish to miss the high-level insights, do watch out for Kalkine TV. Brace yourself as we bring to you the plethora of different sectoral and market intelligence as well as analysis on a daily basis. Kalkine TV, keep watching.
Hello and welcome back. I'm Holly and you're watching Kalkine TV live from Sydney. This is the stocks in action. Before the break, we were discussing the commodities space. Let's have a look at crude oil updates and now that could impact the stocks in this space. Crude oil prices inched higher on Thursday, recording the second consecutive daily rise on the back of an abrupt fall in US crude inventories. August delivery Brent crude oil futures traded flat at $71.40 US dollars per barrel, while WTI crude oil futures for July delivery traded 0.04% down at 68.78 US a barrel. US crude inventories tumbled by 5.1 million barrels last week, a more than expected fall of 2.7 million barrels. Whereas gasoline stocks jumped by 1.5 million barrels and distillates stocks jumped 3.7 million barrels. The crude oil prices have been fueled on expectations from forecasters, including OPEC, stating that the demand will surpass the supply during the second half of 2021. The slowdown in talks of the 2015 Iran-US nuclear deal revival has reduced the expectations of oil supplies from Iran, which also supplied oil prices. Well, on that note, let's have a look at the major news from the ASX-listed companies. First up is Novartis Limited. The company has entered into a binding sale agreement to sell the entire issued share capital of Novartis Retail Distribution and Novartis Retail Distribution New Zealand to RE Media. The consideration for the transaction comprises a headline purchase price of 15 million Australian dollars in cash and the acceptance of a negative working capital position of approximately $27 million. As per the ASX announcement, RE Media are a 16.4% shareholder of Novartis. Also, the company shared on Friday that Kevin Slavin will be stepping down as the CEO and Managing Director and remain in the business until the end of June. James Hannan, currently Chief Operating Officer with over 18 years of experience, has been appointed as the new CEO and MD effective immediately. Moving on to the following news. CIMIC Group Limited's company CPB Contractors has been confirmed as the builder of the first to be built residential lower tower to be constructed in Sydney's central business district, over Sydney's Metro New Pitt Street station, the company announced. The design and construct contract for the tower was awarded by Pitt Street developer South and will generate revenue of approximately $150 million to the CBD contractors. The ASX announcement said that the work on the station above which this tower will be built is already underway, with the New South Wales government awarding $463 million a station contract to CPB contractors in 2019. Alright then, it is time for another short break. Stay tuned as we'll be back with more trending updates.
Property by Kalkine. Looking for a dream home? Well, that may sound easy, but it isn't. And from looking for a property that is the right fit for you in terms of cost and other factors, to zeroing down on the right mortgage plan, there are various aspects to consider. And for the latest slowdown in the property market, tune in on Kalkine TV with me, Sage. I will give the latest updates on the property market as well as real estate stocks to help you make the right decision. Keep watching Property with Kalkine.
Hello and welcome back. I'm Holly and you're watching Kalkine TV live from Sydney. This is the stocks in action. Before the break, we were discussing ASX listed stocks that are in action today. Meanwhile, this ASX listed stock is in the news. Xarelto Limited has acquired Establishment Software Group, Xarelto's long-term licensing and collaborative partner. The merged entity, trading under Xarelto Limited, will utilize the software and integration framework developed by Apps Establishment, coupled with its own payments technology, in order to improve business efficiency, while providing access to increased payment options so they can get paid quicker and better manage their cash flow. Moving on to the next in the news, Noxopharm Limited shared that Novartis experimental drug 177-lutetium PSMA 617 is all set to become an important new treatment for the late-stage prostate cancer on the basis of Phase 3 clinical trial data released overnight by the company. Noxopharm shared it has welcomed the outcome given by its recent lupin trial data, showing an even stronger survival outcome when 177-lutetium PSMA 617 is combined with Vayona. The company stated that it showed a change to help grow the market for the new drug and potentially radiogland therapy more broadly. As per the ASX release, the data is being presented to the annual conference of the American Society of Clinical Oncology, or ASCO, the foremost cancer conference in the world. Meanwhile, this ASX listed stock is also in the news. Financial research firm Citi has upgraded steel producer Bluechip Steel from buy to neutral and has hiked the price target to $25 from $22 as per Refinitiv data. Citi stated BSL is building fast cash and can improve earnings throughout its North Star expansion, benefiting from spot steel prices surging to record highs. It expects BSL to look for large-scale capital management within 2 years. Citi said declining China steel imports will improve spreads prospects for Australian steel exports. The brokerage has also raised BSL's FY22 EBIT forecast by 40% to $2.86 billion and FY23 EBIT forecast by 22% to $1.57 billion. Alright then, that is all for now. Stay tuned with Kalkine TV for more live market updates. We'll be back with more news on the markets, economies and diverse themes and sectors. Holly Shields signing off.